Hi, I'm Kara.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome back to Crunchy Cozy Games.
So today we are going to be chatting a little bit about some of our favorite summer games. It is summer and it is really hot.
It's so hot. We are in the path of that massive heat wave that's coming across the U.S. right now.
Right. The heat index today, I think, was 103.
Something like that. It's so hot.
It's just June, so it's only going to get worse.
Exactly.
But we have found some great games that you can pull and still get the summer vibes while also staying nice and cool in the air conditioning.
Yes, because that's important.
So why don't we, without further ado, why don't we just go ahead and kick it off and let's start talking about some of our favorites.
Yeah, I think we're going to start with a couple that are really kind of on the nose. We cannot have a summer list without talking about the games that have summer in the name. So
yeah, it'd be like doing a nature list without including Wingspan.
Who does that?
Who does that?
So we're going to start off with Azul Summer Pavilion.
There it is.
So this is one of 4 in the Azul series, and the shapes in this one are, as you can see, these kind of diamond shapes rather than the typical squares that you're familiar with from the original Azul. But the mechanisms are essentially the same. You're tiling a pavilion with paving stones instead of a wall or whatever. So it plays very similarly with the circle store in the middle, collecting a certain number to be able to fill the spot. This one has a really interesting addition in a wild section where you can place anything in the middle. I thought that was a really fun addition to the gameplay.
I think the other cool thing that I like about this one is that you can have some holdover tiles into the next round.
Yes, that's true.
And that's actually another difference, is that the regular Azul, you play until you finish like a horizontal row. In this one, you play a specific number of rounds. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 for this one.
Either.
I think it's 5.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we played this one, but it definitely is very summery.
Yeah, I think now that it is summer, we should probably bust it back out.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, Azul Summer Pavilion.
All right, so my pick for games with summer in the title is one we actually played very recently that was a huge surprise.
Yeah.
And that is Skate Summer. So if you're like me, you may have grown up with the video game series Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And this game elicits all of those Tony Hawk's Pro Skater vibes. I mean, you've got, you can do multiple different things. You're doing tricks, you're going around, you're collecting the word skate, like S-K-A-T-E.
Yes, in the graffiti all around this part.
Right. And it's just a really neat mechanism where you've kind of got this push your luck mechanic to it, where you are drawing some of your trick cards, and that is moving the balance on your board meter. And if it goes one way or the other, either too far to the left or too far to the right, you bail and you lose all of the points that you would have accumulated.
Right,
so,
if you don't land before.
Right, so you can choose to land, like you can choose to say, okay, I did this trick and now that trick, and I'm going to stop there.
And of course, you unlock the ability to go further left and right. You unlock other cool abilities. I will say the one thing that I found a little bit irritating off about this game is some of the little pieces that you're using to track things can be just a little bit fiddly.
Sure.
But overall, it's a very enjoyable gameplay experience.
Yeah.
It's so bright and fun.
Well, and that's what makes this such a great summer game, is that the art style and just the general vibe that you get from it just screams like being a kid in the summer and skating around the parks and all that kind of stuff, staying out late, causing ruckus and trouble. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the neatest games that we own.
Yeah, definitely unique.
Cool. So that's Skate Summer.
Next up, we're kind of channeling summer vacation vibes with this one, and taking some trekking the national parks, in fact. I know that this is the first of the trekking games, but it's actually the last one that we acquired.
Right.
And I think some of that was just that, some of the other themes caught us a little bit more, but after we played those other 2, we just really had to pick this one up. And it lives up to all of the hype that it has. It's a wonderful game. It has, like an extra large board, extra large meeples, and
The meeples are actually obnoxiously large.
They are kind of obnoxiously large.
Like, they look like my first meeple, but, you know, it is what it is. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
One of my favorite summer memories is actually with my grandparents. We went to Yellowstone Park one time, and we went all throughout that. And I have like old pictures from my wind-up camera of taking pictures of like buffalo and like, you know, just animals way out in the distance.
Yeah.
And so this game gives me that kind of like same kind of like we're taking this big summer-long vacation vibe.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah. Trekking the national parks.
Okay, now the next one is a little bit of a stretch, but it's set in a desert, and I think that we can all agree, Kara, that deserts are hot, and that gives you a summer vibe.
Sure.
So this next one is Targi, and this is a really cool two-player game. Basically, what you do is you construct a grid of 5x5 grid of different cards, and each round, each player has 3 meeples that they are placing anywhere on there, and what you get for resources or what bonus you get is where those pieces intersect. So it's really unique concept of, you know, how you're planning out your moves and all of that, but what you're doing is you're acquiring different resources to hopefully get points cards. And we had a really good time playing this game.
We did.
It plays fairly quickly. It's about an hour.
And it is a 2-player game.
Right. It's just 2 players.
Yeah.
But there's really no element of luck. It's all about kind of strategizing where you're going to put your different meeples, either to block your opponent or to make sure that you grab something that you really need.
Yeah, and you know, each of the spaces that you're placing in has its own ability that you might be trying to get. Like each row has a power, and each column, like they have things that you can do, and then those like resources that you're putting in your crosshairs, like it's resources or locations that have special abilities as well, and you're using resources to collect those locations, and it plays really quickly. It doesn't really have a board except for the grid that you're creating, so it's pretty, I think, a nice travel game, honestly, if you need something to take with you on your vacation,
your summer vacation. See, it works.
It does work.
What do you got next?
All right. Next up, another one, which is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but again, leaning into this makes me think of hot, and it's summer. And so this is Great Western Trail. Because when you think of, you know, Wild West, it's always like hot and dusty. And this definitely gives off hot and dusty vibes.
In a good way, though.
In the best way, of course.
I remember when I brought this game home, I remember you kind of rolled your eyes at it.
I did.
Wild West is...
It's not like my super favorite theme.
Where does it rank compared to Space, though?
Ooh, that's tough. Maybe slightly below Space,
that's what I thought.
Actually.
But you ended up walking away from this really enjoying it.
I like this game a lot. I think that it, you know, we've talked about it a couple of times already, and I love how quickly the map plays, because you're not stopping at every location right from the start. You're kind of building this trail as you go, and there's always ways to skip with the train if you're able to move your train enough. And I think that, you know, kind of the hand of cows. Just as, you know, it's such a fun it's a fun thing to collect, and stopping and like trying your luck at buying some more cows and trading them in. I think that, you know, one thing that I find a little difficult about this game sometimes is the ships and getting your bonuses after you do your cow sales. But overall, I think that this game is so fun. It is definitely on the super crunchy end.
It's a heavier game.
It's a heavier game. There's a lot going on. But, you know, if you're trying to kill a couple of hours on a hot day to stay inside in the air conditioning, this is a great game to pull out.
All right, let's move on.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I own that. I'm very proud of it.
You went there.
I sure did. Next up is Heat. Everybody likes Heat. Heat is great.
Because it's hot.
It is. Heat is what you think of when you think of the summer, and Heat is, I think, probably the hottest racing game going around right now.
Sure.
I adore this game a lot. I think that it is a racing game that also adds a lot of great push your luck elements and also a lot of great strategy in it.
Absolutely.
If for some reason you haven't heard about Heat, I'll just kind of briefly describe it. But basically, you're racing like an Indy car around all these different racetracks, and you've got to manage your hand. So your hand has different card numbers on it, and you're also managing how fast your car is going by putting it into different gears. If you're in second gear, that means you've got to play 2 cards from your hand on your next turn. If you're in first gear, you play 1. If you're in third gear, you play 3. Fourth gear, you play 4. Well, that's all well and good, but depending on what's in your hand, if you're in fourth gear and you have a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 2, you're going to be taking turns very, very quickly.
And you can spin out.
You can spin out, or you can add heat to your car engine, which are basically just like dud cards. They're going to prevent you from going too quick. If you can't pay that heat, then of course you're going to spin out. So this is just such a cool game with a lot of neat mechanisms that makes the racing feel really interesting. And what I just truly love about this game is that there's such great catch-up mechanics. You know, not quite like Mario Kart rubber banding, but it's possible even for the last place player to still be able to catch up with the right place or the right risks at the right time.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
the slipstreaming where you can just like race around everybody and end up at the front.
Right. And I'm not a big car guy, but I mean, I can tell you, like, this game just elicits those summer feelings of just like, you know, almost like Olympic style, wanting to watch, like sitting in the stands and just watching something unfold. I think it's super cool. I love bringing this one to the table. That's Heat, Pedals the Metal.
All right, now we're getting into kind of island vibes.
Yeah.
Cool off in the water, but hopefully cool off in safe waters, unlike in this game, which is survive. So in this game, you are on an island that is slowly sinking, the island being Atlantis, I believe.
Yeah.
Escape from Atlantis. Survive.
That's a good clue.
It is a good clue. So you're trying to escape to safety from the sinking Atlantis, and it is, you know, each different terrain type is going at different times. You know, your lowest level, your sand, then your forest, then your mountains. And so you're trying to cross the water in these boats. What's super fun about this game is that you place your meeples at the beginning, and that is the only time that you can look at the point value that's on them.
Right.
Because at the end of the game, it's not how many meeples you got, it's how many points are on those meeples.
Right, and they're ranked like 1 to 6. Of course, you have way more 1 meeples than I think you only got the 1 6. And so there's also an element of social deduction to it, where if you right from the get-go start moving 1 meeple to a boat and trying to get them out there, everybody's going to be aware that that's probably your highest point total meeple.
Yeah.
And they're going to start gunning for them immediately.
Right, because you can sabotage people by taking control of their boat.
Yep.
You can put sharks near them. There's a sea monster. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do to mess up somebody's ability to get their meeples to safety.
And much like taking a summer vacation with your family when your siblings are in the back seat with you, this is a very mean game. It certainly can be. If you take it too seriously, you can have people that are very mean to you. Right. So you got to watch out for that.
Right. So just don't take it personally when somebody sicks the sea monster on you, and you'll have a great time playing Survive.
Yes. That's a great one. So another island vibe game that we've talked about quite a bit because it is one of my favorites is Treasure Island.
Oh, such a good game.
This is a great, not exactly hidden movement game, although there's a little bit of hidden movement to it. But this is basically it's an asymmetric game where one player plays as Long John Silver. I think that's his name. I always get confused when I start talking about it because I'm like, is it Blackbeard? Is it Long John Silver? Is that just the name of a restaurant?
Long John Silver.
Great. Okay, cool. It's been a while since I've actually read Treasure Island. I did choreography for it one time, though. That's neither here nor there. But so one player is playing as Long John Silver, and all the other players are playing as other pirates looking for his treasure. Long John Silver has to, throughout the game, it's played over a number of rounds, has to give out some clues as to when it is. And what clues he gives out are dependent on the other players and cards that they draw. The big catch for it is Long John Silver can only lie twice in the entire game.
But he can lie twice in the entire game, so the people that are trying to figure out the clues never know if it's true or not, unless they check.
Right, and players can check because that's the thing. The other players are working cooperatively if they want, because ultimately it's only the player that finds the treasure that wins. So you can give each other information, but you can also keep that information to yourself to hopefully just lock in and find the treasure. But the other thing that's just so inventive about this game is it comes with markers and dry erase boards that you're literally using compasses and drawing on maps to mark off areas where you know it can't be based on the information that you have.
Yep, using rulers and, you know, like marking out the steps. It's very fun to draw on the game board and know that that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Right, it is very cool. So yeah, this is another one that we love a lot. I always bring it out when I'm playing games with people that don't play a ton of games because I think it's just such a unique experience.
It is.
So yeah, Treasure Island, love it.
Yeah. And last from my stack is yet another island game. And this one is Spirit Island.
Ooh.
So this is one of my brother's favorite games. And, you know, it's been quite a while since we've played this, but it is a cooperative game, which is kind of unique in this particular list of games that we have brought out.
Yeah.
You are playing as islanders, spirits who are trying to like work with these islanders.
Right.
No.
Well, I mean the natives of the island.
Yes,
so
the natives.
The island is being invaded by colonizers, and that's one of the things that's so cool about this game is normally in a game you're the colonizer, and in this one you're defending against colonizers.
Right. I love the art style of this game. I think that the spirits themselves are really cool. And I think that the cooperative elements are really interesting.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of a challenging game.
It's very challenging.
And we have not always been successul.
No.
When we played.
I think that's part of the fun. You know, the spirits definitely can combo some different moves depending on how you're working with them. It's kind of on the heavier end of cooperative games because you do have to coordinate a lot of that. This is one I was actually thinking about the other day, and I was like, you know, we really should go back to it because the first time we played it, it didn't click at all.
Yeah.
And then the next time we played it, it started to click a little bit more, and we had a better time with it. And then the next time it was starting to make more sense, I think because we've played more games since then.
Yeah, it definitely takes a couple of plays to warm up to it.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to return to this because I love the theming for it. I love all the different powers that all the spirits have. It's very cool.
Yeah, so Spirit Island.
All right, and our last game to talk about today is, if you've seen our top 100 games of all time that we played last year, you'll know that one of my favorite games is one that we're going to talk about now, and that is The Quest for El Dorado.
So good.
It is such a great game. I mean, this is, again, at its core, probably like a racing game, for lack of a better term. But it's also a deck builder, and it's also got kind of an element of strategy to it, of you're managing your resources to buy better goods so you can traverse the land that much faster. And ultimately, it's the player that reaches the fabled city of El Dorado that ends up winning the game. But to get there, everybody can take a different path. What I really just adore about this game is that you can set up so many different types of maps.
It's true.
Because the board is modular.
It's true. It's very customizable. And of course there are like recommended setups for your first couple of games or just for something, you know, no-brainer start. But
yeah, basically there's one section of tiles that's for the end, and then there's another section that's for the beginning, and then you can fill in the rest. You can have a short board or you can have an incredibly long board, but that is totally up to you.
Mm-hmm.
We've also now played this with one of the expansions, the Hexes and Heroes expansion,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the different heroes.
They're so funny.
They're so funny. They all have really cool powers that you're going to be glad that you have,
Yes,
but then they're all
absolutely.
based off like famous adventurers in fiction. Like, you know, there's a Nathan Drake and an Indiana Jones equivalent and a Laura Croft.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're not called anything like that.
No, they're
Legally distinct.
yes, but very funny.
Yes, and it's completely obvious who that they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is just, it's such a fun summery game. Like, this is another one that I love playing with people that have a little bit of game experience,
Right.
but, you know, not a ton, because I feel like this is such a great gateway game of all the different things that board games can offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is our list of summer games.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. What are some of your favorite games to play during a summer? What are some of the games that give you just great summer vibes?
Yeah. Well, now that it's summer, we are excited to be back here.
Right. Yeah, we've had a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a rough patch. We've just been very busy. Kara's been in like 48 choirs.
And Adam has been creating fights and being a director of an amazing play.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
so we've been very busy, but now we are really excited to get back and share our love of board games with you. So if you do us a favor and like and subscribe, we're really hoping to put out a video a week. So we'll keep you updated on all our lists
Yeah.
and games that we're looking forward to in 2024.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye.